to meet in the district. So I'm really glad about that. If you haven't signed in, please sign in the back and grab a agenda. So the way that I've been doing these meetings is I have been touching on several different issues with several different people coming to speak. So in doing that, we have tried to cover a lot of different topics. The speakers share for about 10 minutes and then take questions for about 5 minutes. We have to stay kind of on a schedule because the library closes at 7. So if something goes really long, I might kind of, ask to wrap up. So I'm gonna share a update, and then we'll go through the speakers. And then at the end, Commissioner Charlie Lanter with Over Housing and Advocacy is supposed to be here after another meeting he has to also talk about the issues going on in Kernel Valley. So I first want to say that I left my notes on the printer, so I am going to be using my phone, but it's for my notes. I'm not playing on my phone. Just wanted to clarify that because I don't like using it normally. So a few things that are happening in the city. I think most of you all know me, but if not, my name is Jennifer Reynolds, and I am the council member for the 11th District. And my term will end in December. And my former legislative aide that you all might know, Isabel Ballard, is also an artist and is pursuing her work full-time in art and grad school. So she is working on that this summer. And so Deborah Sloan will be helping me. She helped a lot of other council members in the past through the end of my term. So if you don't have her email, it is Sloane, SLONE, at lexingtonky.gov. If you need to reach me, it's jreynolds at lexingtonky.gov. So a few notes of things I'm going to try to, I have a lot, so I'm going to try to go quickly so that we have plenty of time. We passed a budget of $847 million. It was a pretty flat budget this year. We will not have a big surplus like we have in the past due to revenue not increasing as much as it has the past few years. Versailles Road update. So I helped secure money through the state and the city for the design of the rest of the improvement project on Versailles Road. We have hired a contractor to do that design. We passed that finally tomorrow, and they will work on the design from Mason Headley through right before the bridge, because the bridge you can't change, so right before the bridge. That design will take up to 2 years because the city, it's a state route, and so the city has to go back and forth with the state in order to be able to design it. This contractor has a lot of great ideas about how to slow traffic down, but we have to work with the state to get them to approve those ideas and things like that. Then it will be buying right-of-way, and then it would be construction. Those next two parts are extremely expensive, and that is why this project has not been done yet, because totally it costs $40 million. The first part of the project was originally $3 million. Then they realized they needed another $1 million that I helped get, and that was 4 total. So you can see the comparison of 4 versus 40. There's a lot of right-of-way that the city has to buy from property owners to be able to expand the road and make it safer. So that is why this has taken so long. And our head engineer said that it is going as quickly as it can, and unfortunately these projects that are really big take a long time. The good news is it's on the state's radar now because it's on their priority list. So that is good, and hopefully we can leverage the design to get federal grants and bigger money. So that is where we are there. Mason Healy and Versailles Road. So that is all, as you've seen, getting redone for the school. There is going to be a turn lane from Versailles Road all the way to the school on the right side there. And there will be a shared use path to the lane. Then on the other side, there will be a sidewalk to Duntred. And so right now, that's where those sidewalks and shared use path are stopping, because the city is also working on a plan to redo Mason Healy and add paths. So that is happening. So that's gonna change the traffic when school starts, obviously, quite a bit. The buses will come in and out on Versailles Road, and all the cars will go in and out on Mason Healy. Let's see. I know former council member Peggy Henson is not here, but I have had this question, and I keep getting updates. So this is the latest update. So Lane Allen and Harrisburg Road, there's issues with ADA access there, and there has been for a really long time. The city is planning to redo that and redo and add sidewalks on Lane Allen and Alexandria. I was told the latest update, we are down 3 engineers from the amount that we're supposed to have. And so basically it's on their list, but they cannot get to it until they have more engineers. We have tried to work on increasing the pay of the engineers to be more competitive, and it's still not, I think, competitive enough. And so they have really had a hard time keeping engineers. So that is still in the plans. It's going to happen, but they don't have the manpower to do it at this moment. And so that's why it's been put off, as well as the sidewalks that we already approved to go in. Wanted to let you know about Kentucky American Water update. I don't know if you've seen the news about all the issues with the roads because of their projects. I talked to the president of Kentucky American Water. They are working with the city to try to come up with solutions so that the whole road is not torn up when they do a project for long periods of time. So as of right now, they do the cutouts on either side of the road, and then they do a temporary filler, and then they leave that for a long time, and then they come back in, and then they do it again, and then they, at the very end of everything, they pave. So right now they're working on seeing, can they do smaller sections so they're not tearing up the whole road for long periods of time? And can they put concrete in instead of the nasty temporary filler that goes everywhere that they're doing right now? So they are working on some solutions on that. I have been really frustrated by some of those road projects in the district and now on High Street, on the other side of High Street, and several places. So they are working to try to improve that process. Let's see. Wanted to let you know, another council member and I are trying to work on a project to look at different ways to expand affordable housing. Right now we have an affordable housing fund, which is great, but we would like to look at other ways of approaching affordable housing. So we've been looking at land banks, we've been looking at vacant properties, which we really don't have a lot in Lexington, so it's a little different than other cities in that sense. We've been looking at what are ways, zoning, what are ways other cities are approaching affordable housing that maybe we could even do 1 or 2 of those things. So that's something that we're working on and hope to have an update in committee this fall. We've been working with code enforcement, and like I mentioned, Commissioner Lanter is hoping to be here at the end to kind of talk and give you guys an update on those buildings and that have been such a problem with the same owner, and the same owner that used to own the Oxford Circle buildings where the carbon monoxide issue was. So he's gonna give you an update on what they're doing, and I can just tell you that I am very upset about how these landlords are treating their tenants, and the fact that it seems very hard for us to do a lot with that, and I think we need to be doing a lot more. And I think he does too, but yeah, I can just tell you that I'm not okay with the conditions as they've been, and I have communicated that fully, and I know he will give another update. Also been working on getting in the budget. There was a position for a development housing liaison to help developers and people that are building housing when they come in, someone to walk them through the process. It has taken historically a while to get development processes through, and so this would help people be able to go through their process more quickly and work with all the different divisions in government. And I think when we're looking at housing, it would be helpful for that. Another thing we're voting on tomorrow is moving Civic Lexus out of their Civic Assembly recommendations forward to go on the ballot for you to vote on. So local civic organization had a Civic Assembly, and out of that, they looked at our charter, which is our book of rules, and they recommended charter review every 8 years, which we haven't had, so that we look at it every 8 years and see if it needs updates. They recommended that council get paid the average salary of a Lexingtonian because in the past 10 years, council responsibilities have gone way up. And they recommend that council have accountability with our attendance records in an easy place for people to access to hold us accountable. So those three things moved on to the docket and are for a final vote tomorrow. And if they go on the docket, we're not voting them up or down. We're just voting to put them on the docket for you to vote on. And if they go on the docket, then you will get to vote on those in the fall. I know that data centers are the talk of the town. A few people asked me if I made this meeting for that. This meeting was set up long before we even knew what was happening. But I can tell you that we passed a moratorium through the end of October, which means nobody can get permits or move forward with a data center. And that we added a zone ordinance text amendment saying that we're asking the Planning Commission to come up with parameters around data centers going forward so that we can't have nilly-willy data centers everywhere. So I wanted to let you all know, so it will be going to the Planning Commission, and then they will have a public hearing, and it is scheduled to take place on July 30th at 1:30 p.m. in the council chambers at the Government Center at 200 East Main Street.
Now, is that concerning data centers?
Yes, it is only about data centers. So I know it's during the day, which is not ideal, but that's when the Planning Commission has their meetings, and they're going to be taking public comment on the matter as they come up with this zoning amendment. So if you have an opinion or you have something that you want to share about that, that would be a really good time to do it if you are available. So I want you all to know that this council is taking this super seriously, that we acted quickly, and that we are doing everything we can to investigate and learn more about data centers so that we can make an informed opinion and do what's best for Lexington moving forward. It is the one part of the location that this company is supposed to acquire is already a data center and is zoned for that. But like I said, there's a moratorium right now on it, but they are allowed up to a certain amount to have a data center there, and we don't know what else we can do to stop that, but we know that we can stop expansion from that footprint around areas that do not have, or that have different zoning, because we can put rules on that. So we're trying to figure all that out right now, and we're taking it, like I said, very seriously. Okay, I think I got through all of the things really quickly, so that we still have time for everybody else. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I've written you about the dangerous intersections and getting reflectors and yellow paint, because those meant the Harrodsburg Road and Lane Allen, Broadway and Mason Healy, and Alexandria and Darien. They're all super, dangerous.
So those are state, or except the one that you mentioned, are state routes. And I know last time when Preston was here, he said that he would look into that. But he has not given me an answer on if they're going to do that or not. But I will communicate again with him about the intersections that you're concerned about, so that he hopefully will give me an answer, because they're the ones that are in charge of like if they painted or put reflectors up. But I did ask our engineer about the sales in Mason Heatley, and he said that the data that he's pulled has not been problematic, but that he thinks maybe when they put the turn lane in, it'll be a little more clear. Yes.
Why was the October date picked for the moratorium? Like, why not extend it a year? Like, why that?
I asked about that, and the answer that I received was the law department didn't think that they could legally do it longer. But I have seen that some cities have done it longer, but I think all the circumstances are a little bit different. And maybe something will come up and we'll be able to extend it, but I'm not exactly sure at the moment. Mm-hmm. Yes.
This is probably new, but Valley Road, right now there is a speed limit of 35 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. I've seen people going down Valley Road at 60 miles an hour. Just crazy. Somebody has hit the fence over Saddle Club and almost knocked the transformer out, and I know it was speeding. My concern is if during the school year, buses let kids off right there at Bridal Court and Valley Road. Mm-hmm. And people, I'm just afraid that a child or somebody getting off of the bus will get hit by somebody speeding down Valley Road. See, I don't know what to do aside from putting in the bumps down Valley Road to kind of slow them up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've seen people rolling down through there about 55 miles an hour.
We have a really bad problem with speeding in this city. It's just bad, and it's bad everywhere. On Viley, unfortunately, we can't put speed tables because of the large, it's through road that it is. So it wouldn't qualify to be able to put speed tables, but I can ask our commander about, looking at extra enforcement there, or maybe doing a trailer to try to see if we have a lot of people going in an excess.
Yeah, even if you could just kind of keep an eye on the road during the times the kids, the buses are picking up and dropping off the kids on Valley Road. I know it's not practical to do it 11 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock in the morning, but from the hours of maybe 9 to 5 or whatever, have some extra eyes on Valley Road.
And I will note that, and I'll also talk to the commander about it. I know there's been a few concerns about Viley on and off, so, yes.
Alexandria and Cambridge, that three-way stop sign, nobody stops hardly at that stop sign. Okay. I have videos, and even officers don't do a complete stop at that stop sign, so why would anybody else? They run the stop sign, and like they're speeding at least 55 miles per hour going down. We already had one person hit years ago by those apartments, but they speed all the time.
And I will ask Streets and Roads if they can do a study there and look into if there's some other solution or how they could improve the intersection. Yes.
When he mentioned Viley Road, reminded me that Alexandria between Viley and Leestown Road, people go very fast, but the condition of the road is that there are basically
Shoulders.
there's no space.
Yeah.
And the road is crumbling, and the pothole people, they just do this tablespoon approach, and then it gets worse. And there's like missing stone or gravel on the sides, and especially in bad weather, it's terrible.
The county had some money to do some improvements there to make the road a little bigger, but we've been pushing for them to like make that part of Alexandria Drive wider for a while, and have not gotten further than just the little project that they're supposed to do, and they have not done it yet. I know they added at one point like gravel, which that doesn't really help a lot. So I will communicate again, just that, you know, it needs to be better. And I agree with the potholes. Sometimes they're not filled. Sometimes they're filled like way over, and then it just makes a bump. Yeah. So yeah.
It's tablespoons, and then you get all these patches, and then they break up. And then there's potholes.
Okay. I will also talk to Streets and Roads about that. Okay. Yes. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good to see you.
With the homeless people, we've been having so much trouble right here in Alexandria Drive. I mean, it's just, we got in trouble with the city because they're going down just the trash. There's 4 dumpsters right there. And they're just going to drop everything they want right there in the sidewalk. They have a dog. They feed the dog there. They leave the dog food right there, you know, on the ground. There's trash. And, you know, I hate to say this in front of everybody, but there was one day, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
He did.
Right there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's so many kids go there to get ice cream and stuff. I mean, it's getting real bad. And we can't say too much to them because if we say something, I'm afraid, you know, my kids, I have a son that gets off 9:30, 10 o'clock. I don't want them to do nothing to. Because one day my son said something about the trash and they got real upset and they told a bunch of stuff. So I said, do not say anything else. I said, let's see what we can, you know, with the city, what they can do. There's a lady that came in and told them to leave and everything, but they keep coming back. And I mean, there's kids
All day long.
all the time.
I think it has become a huge issue. I know that there's been a lot more traffic, you know, in the past year, 2 years. The mayor has commissioned a commission of homelessness to look at what they can do in terms of shelters and other resources that they can provide people. And I know that that group has subcommittees and that they're going to be doing a report out soon with their recommendations. And I think they just came from that meeting, one of those meetings, but hopefully there will be some recommendations that will be tangible, that will help this issue. I know that, you know, our Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention has worked really hard, but there are only a few people in that office, and the issue, you know, continues to be challenging. So we're gonna hear from our director of our Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention. We're gonna hear from our commander here in a second, and they might have some good ideas. And then, you know, just trying to figure out as a community how we should respond when, you know, these are humans, but also, you know, there's some behaviors and things that are really problematic for the residents and the businesses. So we'll hear from them some more, and hopefully that will be helpful, but I'm also willing to talk to you afterwards. Okay. Now we are gonna go to our public safety update, and first up is our Commander Burnett of West Sector. He's gonna address crime trends and community concerns, and I just wanna say what a pleasure it's been to work with him. He's been very responsive, so thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel Burnett. I'm the patrol commander for the west side of town, which goes from the west side of Nicholasville around Harris Pike, so that includes the 11th district here. First, before I jump in, I'm glad you all brought up a couple of themes that I was actually going to talk about. So, number one, sir, if you ever see one of my officers running stop signs or things like that.
That's me with the
please-
stop sign.
Was it? Okay, perfect. Well, let me tell you, please capture their P number, the number on their car, and call us and report that. We take those complaints very seriously, and that's completely unacceptable. So if you see that, shoot, take a picture, get the P number, or whatever you can do.
Seen you
Please,
recording off
please
of
call
my
it in.
What
camera.
number do you
Perfect.
call?
258-3600.
They're tired of
That's
hearing
just our
from me.
non-emergency number, and I'll tell you, that's a good thing. That gets to point number two. I'll also leave some of my cards on the back. You can shoot me an email anytime. And I like emails as well because then
Keep a paper trail.
there's a paper trail for me and you, and it's easy to not lose track of. Additionally, so ma'am, to your concern with, I understand there's it's a growing problem here and all across Lexington. My request to you and anybody, whether it's a speeding concern or with people loitering or engaging in any kind of behavior, call it in. I'm very glad that you're not comfortable engaging. You shouldn't have to. And that can be an uncomfortable and it can be a dangerous thing as well. So I would just encourage you to, if you haven't already, please call 258-3600, which is our non-emergency number. That's if just it's a routine, hey, there's people loitering here, they're trespassing, they're hanging out where they're not supposed to. If it's something that's dangerous behavior right in the moment, you see somebody using drugs, threatening somebody, doing something else dangerous, then call 911. And that helps ensure that we get somebody there at the right time. Even just driving over here, I drove over the bridge over Wolf Creek there. And it was like a party there.
Oh yeah, that's the party place.
Well, and we'll do an extra patrol for 2 weeks where officers will come, let people off, and they come right back. So what helps is, if you see something, say something, whether it's on your street, whether it's in an apartment complex, because there's a lot of complex systemic challenges here, especially with the number of condemned apartments we have and some other things that are beyond a quick fix. But to help do what we can within our current constraints, please call us every time. If you have a concern, call us. We may not be able to get there right that instance, it depends. Sometimes, like today, for example, I have 8 officers working from Nicholasville Road around to Paris Pike. We can get spread thin pretty quick, but we're always gonna get there eventually. And if you ever wanna talk about your concern as well, you can report it completely anonymously or request contact. And then an officer's gonna talk directly to you about your concern, get more details and stuff like that. We can't always completely fix it, but we can usually do something. And particularly when it comes to some of your concerns, some additional things that can help are, if it's private property, put up signage.
Because we do. We
Okay,
have
perfect.
signs everywhere.
Okay. Do you call us every time?
I don't.
Okay. That would just be my request to you. Please give us a shot to help work with you on it. So call. Don't be bashful. We get paid by the hour, all right? When calls stack up, we get to them when we can. You're not burdening us by calling us. Okay? We work very closely with the Office of Homelessness Prevention as well. We are compassionate to the extent we can be, but a lot of times, unfortunately, the only tools that we have are violations of the law, and that's not what we want to do, is take enforcement action, but sometimes it's all we can do, and it's what will help make the situation better in the moment. So, calls. With that, so you all have already touched on a lot of overall 11th District kind of concerns that we're aware of. Traffic concerns are a major concern all throughout the city, especially things like even kids on these small e-bikes or motorized scooters and things like that. Those are things that you can call into us. Typically our approach is, again, particularly when it's a juvenile, we don't want to be out writing juveniles traffic tickets, but we will if we have to, especially if they're doing something dangerous. But what we prefer to do is make contact with them, their guardians, let them know what the laws are, because the reality is those little mini bikes that you see out in the neighborhood kind of running wild, those are not legal to be operated in the street, nor in the parks. So please call us. And the condemned properties that we have all throughout Cardinal Valley, I know that's a major concern as well. Again, those issues with homeless folks and other people squatting, drug use. There's a lot of issues, particularly right here in the Cardinal Valley area, that we're aware of and we're working on to the extent that we can. Stepping outside of just the 11th district into citywide, so our calls for service in 2026 are actually up 10%. So that means we've had over 71,000 dispatch calls so far this year and 25,000 self-initiated calls. That means when officers are doing things like getting out with a group of people or doing a traffic stop or an extra patrol or things like that. The positive news story is we've had over 130 days since our last fatal shooting, and we've only had 12 non-fatal shootings so far this year. Both of those numbers are down from years past, so that's a positive trend. Again, citywide, and this is through May, we've had 6 murders, which is 33% less than last year. Our robberies are down 5%. We've had 81 of those so far this year. Assaults, which can include anything from 2 people down at the bar getting to an altercation versus more serious domestic things, stuff like that. We've had 247 of those, which is down 5%. So overall violent crime is down. That's a positive thing. Some of the theft, petty theft in particular, car break-ins and car thefts, both of those have been up for this year by about 20%. We think a large part of that has been, there's a couple of groups of juveniles, it's become very trendy to do it, and they can hit 15, 20, 30 cars in a night. And particularly there's a couple of models, if you drive a Kia or a Hyundai, be sure to lock that thing up because they have a propensity to get stolen. But we've got a couple of those groups identified and have made a couple of arrests in the last couple of weeks, so we're hoping to stem that a little bit. But things that you can do, if you remember nothing else other than what I've said this evening,
Lock your doors.
lock your doors. That's right. Of the 200 guns that we get stolen every year out of vehicles, all of our stolen vehicles, across all theft, about 80% of it is from unsecured things. So please, I know you might have seen or heard the social media advertisement that we push is, hey, your 9 o'clock routine, lock all your stuff. And don't leave your spare set of keys in the car either.
Or your garage opener.
Under a rock outside.
Yep. So that's it. That's the best thing you can do. And then also, like we kind of talked about, is if you see something, say something. Just being vigilant, looking out for your neighbors, paying attention to things as you're traveling around. And if something concerns you or seems odd, call us. Again, if it's urgent, if it's a particularly dangerous situation, call 911. If it's not an emergency, but it's just something kind of suspicious or unusual, then call our non-emergency number. Do not be bashful about it. Again, you're not bothering us. You can do it completely anonymously, or you can request contact, and an officer will speak to you directly about your concern as well. But lock your stuff, call us. So overall, just some general things from Lexington PD, we pride ourselves on transparency. If you ever have any questions about our policies, our procedures, even our personnel discipline, you wouldn't believe it. Everything, it's all out there for you to see on our transparency page. So lexingtonky.gov/police and transparency. And that's your gateway to answering a whole lot of questions you may have. We are prioritizing technology. So as of late, we've been fortunate enough the last few years to have access to license plate readers, of which we have 125 placed around the city. Those locations, what our policies are, how they work, that's all posted on our transparency page. That and our real-time intelligence center, which is unfortunately not staffed 24 hours a day, but a good 3/4 of the day is staffed. They have access to things like our traffic cameras and tremendous investigative resources that have allowed us to recover literally hundreds of stolen vehicles and solved a whole lot of violent crime that we would not otherwise have had a lead. So we appreciate the community's trust in giving us those things. And again, we have very stringent policies about what and how we can use that information, how it's all audited and tracked, and but it's truly indispensable in the modern era. So we've also, we do have some limited use patrol drones that we can deploy for active situations. They don't stay up for a long time, but they've been invaluable. We've deployed them nearly 100 times over the last year, and in 50 of those situations, they were the pivotal factor and what allowed us to find the perpetrator we were looking for, or in some instances, missing people and things like that. So again, I can't emphasize technology enough. I think I've hit just about everything. A couple of other things, city services that are offered. If you have a loved one or somebody in your family, in your household who you're concerned about, that you would like to share information about them that public safety would need if they were to respond to your house for an emergency, you can provide that information through Smart 911. That's through our division of E911. If you just Google Lexington Smart 911, that's how to find that program. And then also through our Department of Emergency Management, they offer a program called Lex Alerts, which just allows you to get text alerts for weather type events and emergencies. Unfortunately, we don't have, one common question that we get is people, if you see a large police or fire presence, for example, somewhere, or a helicopter overhead, people want to know what's going on. I completely understand that. I'm the same way. We don't currently have the ability to push those notifications to a small geographic area like right around there. We just don't. It would have to be like those Amber Alerts that you get from Jackson County at 3 o'clock in the morning that terrify you. And it would become nonstop and would probably become more like white noise. So unfortunately, we can't do that right now. But if you do have a question, again, you can always call our dispatch or sometimes follow our social media. We usually post things as soon as we can. But most of the time, if our officers or any public safety are dealing with an emergency situation, their first priority is dealing with the situation. So informing people of any imminent threats is always a priority. But sometimes I would just ask that you think for a second, okay, is this a need to know or just I want to know kind of thing? Just give us a little bit of patience because we'll let you know as soon as we can. And that is everything from my notes. So I'm here for any questions for as long. Yes, sir.
Businesses with, let's say, a motion activated audible, if it becomes, I understand to call the non-emergency number if it goes off, but when it gets into the territory of being a nuisance, going off 9 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock in the morning, it may only go off about 4 or 5 minutes. Or is our only recourse as a citizen to call the non-emergency number? When does it become a nuisance problem for us where we hear it a lot?
Okay, so there's if I'm hearing you correctly, so you have a business that's close by and they have an alarm that goes off all the time, like an audible alarm. Have you taken it to that business?
I've been trespassed from there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting. We do have a false alarm ordinance. The city does, and there used to be fines levied. There are still supposed to be. So please, I'll leave my contact information back there.
I mean, from a reporting structure, is a non-emergency line the right call?
Well, perhaps, but with what you're saying, their alarm system is probably already tied in to.
It's an audible whoop, 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 whoop alarm. It's Ames on Lane Avenue.
Oh goodness.
There it goes called.
Yeah, I'm not
It
familiar.
affects all of Skycoast, and I'm bringing this as my immediate neighbors. We all hear it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I will tell you an option.
and again, I can't go up there.
You can, okay.
So.
Well, still, I will say this, and it's not a perfect solution, but it would be an option for you all to file noise complaints when that occurs, particularly if it's false and repeated and public safety is not getting dispatched, but they continue to have that.
I would say that's exactly the scenario.
Yes, so I cannot promise you a specific nor quick outcome, but we could document that and attempt to help with, looking at some of those options.
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a It's not my personal car, but there's a car on Oxford Circle that is obviously abandoned, and I have called the police twice, once in April and once in the end of May. I did get a call back the second time from the officer, and it's still not tagged, it's just sitting there.
Is it on public, private?
It's on the street, it's on the outer loop of Oxford, it's a vehicle that's been obviously in several accidents.
And it's not moving at all?
No.
Has it ever been stickered?
No,
Never.
no.
Well, that's very unusual, so like,
I figure they might know somebody or something, because, I mean, if
No.
it's my driveway.
here's our normal protocol. So you're telling me it's parked on a public street?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'll take that down and have somebody look at it tonight, because here's what the law says.
I've got the license plate on it and everything, I can give you.
Yes, please do, because here's what the law says, local law.
I looked at black.
On a city street, a
Yeah.
car cannot be parked for more than 24 hours without moving. Now, here's the game that some people play. So here's how this should go. And it goes 9 out of 10 times is we get called, an officer comes, they run the plate and make sure it's not stolen, and then they'll place a sticker on the window. It's very hard to remove. It's this bright orange stickers that has a date time stamp, and they mark it for 24-hour towing. They notify our dispatch, and then 24 hours from then, it comes up and we get dispatched again. Now here's what sometimes homeowners or vehicle owners do that are slick. They'll move the thing 1 foot.
I don't think that thing's moving at all.
Okay, you could be right. So it should have been marked and towed. So I assure you I'll look into that one, if you
Okay.
provide me the
It's
information.
just an obvious junk vehicle, and I've had neighbors come up to me and ask if they think they can do it, and I said, I'll turn it in.
Call, and then I would say, have you ever seen an officer out looking at it?
Sorry, she said something in my ear, what?
Yeah, again, if you're not seeing a response or say, I would like contact, and
I did get a contact the last time on the 29th of May.
and what did the officer
He
say?
said that he had to wait 48 hours and then he would tag it, and it's still sitting there.
I would love to know who that officer is, because 48 hours is wrong.
I did not get his name, I wish I had.
Okay.
Because it came from an unknown number, and I thought it was somebody.
Yeah, no, you don't. Literally, when you have a complaint of parking, we come and we mark it from that point. You just say, hey, it's been out there for 2 weeks, or it's been there for 3 hours, whatever. We can mark it from that point. That's when the 24-hour clock starts.
Now, what about something inside Oxford Circle, like where the businesses are, like Allen's and all that in there? Is that private?
That is all private.
Okay, because I've noticed a vehicle there that, I just came back from Florida, so I don't know how long it's
Sure.
been there, but it's a big vehicle, and it's parked.
Yeah, and sometimes, depending on the circumstances, there could be some code violations there when things are on private property. It just depends. But with those, it would largely be up to the property owner. So
This is a major SUV, not an SUV, it's a RV. It's a big RV parked in there.
right.
But I just came back today, so I hadn't seen it before, so it might be used.
Well, I will be here, and again, I'll leave some cards, and I think this is my cue.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we have Fire Marshal Jeff Johnson, and it's been a pleasure to work with him this past year, and he has some important safety updates for you all.
So, good evening. It's great to see everybody. And we love our police partners. I just want to start out by saying that we work a lot with them. Just a couple of quick things, a little bit about the Fire Marshal's office. We are kind of the fire prevention arm of the fire department. We are inspectors, and so we've got about 12 inspectors that do plan reviews. So when new construction is coming through, particularly commercial, we deal mostly with commercial, not residential, houses and things like that. We are a part of plan review for streets and road widths and hydrant placement and all of that kind of stuff. And it's interesting to know we deal. There are a lot of streets in Lexington that have been around a very long time, are very small when they were built, and the people that live there, probably people didn't have a whole lot of cars, and now there's a whole bunch of people in the house and everybody has a car. So it's interesting when you talk to people in government. It's interesting how every division has their own little our children as well that are at the bus stop, and we want all that kind of safety. We also look at speed tables a little bit differently because it slows us down in our response. So we're driving a big ladder truck and we've got to go through 7 speed humps. getting to wherever we're going. So it's a balanced approach of what we try to do. All the divisions get together, they look at what the problems are, and they're, what solutions can we have? And I love the fact that we're getting more and more technology, because at the end of the day, what we're wrestling with is human behavior. And how do we change human behavior? And man, when we figure that out, we'll be on the news, I guarantee you. So we do plan review for all new commercial construction, and we also do inspections of commercial structures. So we divide commercial structures into 3 main categories: high, medium, and low. And when there are either a certain large number of people there, or there are certain things that are a part of that structure that makes it uniquely dangerous, we get to those every year. Now, we get to schools every year, we get to high rises every year, we get to hotels every year, that kind of thing. A dentist office that has 5 people in it at a time isn't at the top end of the danger zone. Some of you might not like the dentist, but that's not kind of the top end of whatever. So we'll get around to that about every 3 years or so. So that's one of the main things we do. We also, as the fire marshal, I sign off on all occupant loads. So however many people are allowed in here, we have calculations for all that. And also it's fireworks season. Anybody planning on watching a fireworks show this summer? Maybe a couple of you. You'll probably see them all over the city. Generally speaking, for those of you that we have about 5 shows in Lexington that are permanent shows. In Lexington, nothing that goes up or explodes is legal in Fayette County. So when you come down to the guy's, tent down here, we've already inspected him at Oxford Circle. He's only selling the stuff that you can shoot in Fayette County, but a lot of people buy stuff that's around and then bring it into Fayette County, right? And so we do all of that as well. And we also take a lot of complaints. So when somebody is complaining about something, particularly fire safety, we respond to that as well. And so I get a lot of phone calls. My email and office phone is on the city's website for the fire marshal's office. It's on your sheet as well. And probably the most critical thing that we've been working with Councilmember Reynolds recently was the carbon monoxide ordinance that we placed that should be around September-ish come into play. One of our greatest challenges, and if we wouldn't be talking about that, we just get stuff done if there wasn't a challenge, right? The things that are the greatest challenges that we wrestle with all the time are sometimes apartment complexes, particularly older apartment complexes. We have the right, and I've done it a few times, when somebody is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, particularly in commercial structures, we have a lot of leeway to motivate them. And at the end of the day, that's part of the challenge is, how do you motivate? I wish everybody that worked, lived, or owned property in the city was motivated by doing the right thing all the time. It would be very simple. That's not the case. So we partner with a lot of our other partners in the city, police, ABC, so if alcohol is sold in a place and it is unsafe for fire and they're not responding to us, we partner with our police, and suddenly they don't have an ABC license, and suddenly they're motivated, and they start fixing things around there. The same way with other kind of things. One of our greatest challenges that probably affects this area the most is landlords that own property here in town but that live in another state. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult for me when I go to a bar, I go to a place that is not doing what we're supposed to do, we just shut them down. And we just, the public are not allowed in here until you fix all of these things. That doesn't work with apartment complexes because you end up punishing the very people you're trying to protect, right? In a sense, so it creates opportunities for us to try to be be creative in how we do it. We have partners at HUD, and there's been times that we've gotten things fixed incredibly because we partnered with HUD and they didn't rent out any more apartments in that building until they fixed all the stuff that so we try to, as a city, partner together every way we can to try to affect the people that have the power to make change. And if doing the right thing isn't enough, we try to motivate them in any other way that we can. So these are the main kind of things that we work with, and particularly in residential. Most deaths in fires happen in residential structures. Most of them happen in single-family dwellings or in apartment complexes. So we have, obviously, a lot of programs, and our smoke alarm program is one of them that we support. I left these sheets on the back there if you need help. We, legally, well, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to say that, but it's my understanding of the code that if you're a landowner, you lease your property for people to live there, it's your responsibility to make sure that everything that place that is required to be there, smoke alarms, whether CO detectors, fire extinguishers, those kinds of things, it's the property owner that's responsible for making sure all of that's there. I know personally, maybe some of you know as well, that doesn't always happen. And so what the city has done is they've tried to bridge the gap between trying to get property owners to do this kind of thing. And so we have our own program where we'll provide for free a couple of smoke alarms in different places, even in places where somebody else should be taking responsibility of that, because we feel like we have a huge responsibility for the citizens of this city, and regardless of whether it's our responsibility or not, we're going to do the best we can to keep them safe. We do the same thing with the CO detectors. We have much fewer of those, and our group, our supply of these two things comes to us through either a very small line in our budget for these kinds of things, or through grants or the Red Cross. And so we have a very limited supply. So we do what we can, where we can, but if everybody that doesn't have a smoke alarm called us tomorrow, we don't have the supplies to do all of that, right? And so we do the best we can to work in that environment. But those are a couple of the things that are real important to us. And since it's new, we had a tragedy happen right here off of Oxford Circle last year. I'm glad to say that building has really seen a ton of improvement. They've put combination carbon monoxide and smoke alarms in all the rooms, brand new boiler system that was part of the problem, even vented it outside the building rather than it kind of going through the building, which was one of the main, that when that thing fell apart was one of the main culprits of all of that. But just as an educational, everybody kind of understands a smoke alarm, but CO alarms, carbon monoxide itself is fuel that has not been completely burned. So like when you start your car and you've got exhaust coming out of your car, your engine, as nice as it might be and as fancy as your car might be, doesn't completely burn every single thing efficiently. So there is some CO that comes out of your exhaust. And so that's what happens in any kind of fuel burning or even a fireplace can produce CO. And so what the ordinance says and what the fire code requires is that if you have any kind of fuel burning appliance in your house, you've got something that uses propane, gas, those kinds of things like your heat, stoves, whatever. If you have a fireplace, or if you have an attached garage, because people could leave a car, running in the car. Those are the places that need a carbon monoxide. If you have an all-electric house that you're in or an apartment and there is zero any kind of fuel burning appliance whatsoever, then you don't need a CO detector. Now,
don't bring those things in your home. There's been times when it gets real cold and